Now, Sundays will never be the same again. Britain's biggest-selling newspaper, the News of the World, is to close. Yesterday, News International's chairman, James Murdoch, said that this Sunday's issue will be the last, bringing a momentous end to a paper which has been in circulation for over 160 years.
This follows the shocking claims that the paper's reporters hacked into the mobile phones of murdered schoolgirl Millie Dowler and the families of 7/7 bombing victims.
Gosh, remember those? Those were just some of the News of the World's iconic headlines. So what now for the future of tabloid journalism? Well, joining us now, PR man Max Clifford, former News of the World journalist Nick Ferrari, and a lady who's had an issue with the News of the World in the past, Chrstine Hamilton.
Nick, now, you're a journalist, and I think kind of when this story broke and everything else, I was thinking, you know, fair enough, celebrities and all the salacious gossip and everything else, that's kind of hand in hand. But Millie Dowler and 7/7 victims and, you know, kind of servicemen and women, what were they actually thinking? What were they going to possibly get by hacking their phones?
They were hoping to get page one exclusives, and you're absolutely right. That was the tipping point. I'm not condoning what went on with Lord Prescott, Hugh Grant, Alistair Campbell, but they're rich and/or celebrities, so I think the public, so what? You start dealing with the families of soldiers who've died in Afghanistan, Millie Dowler, the girls in Soham, it's totally different. The Prime Minister, less than an hour ago, was talking about this being absolutely wrong, a terrible and a devastating series of consequences, and he's right. The sadness is, and I will say this to my dying breath, a lot of what the News of the World did was very good journalism. When I buy the last copy on Sunday, a bit of my professional heart will die, and Fleet Street will lose a very noisy but needed force. I really believe that.
Max, this was a brutal move. It was an audacious move. It's just the kind of ruthless move that we're used to from Rupert Murdoch, even if this was perhaps his biggest move to date.
Yes,
Do you think it was the right one?
The right one, from my point of view, no, because the team on the News of the World now that have all lost their jobs have had nothing to do with this.
So was this just a shrewd
business
move?
This was a business move. Obviously, the justifiably bad publicity around these allegations, and don't forget, that's all they are at the moment, allegations about Millie Dowler and the services and Sarah Payne and the McCanns, etc., are absolutely disgusting. But what I think Murdoch thinks is that by stopping the News of the World, he's going to get rid of the cancer which was starting to spread to News International and also to News Corp worldwide and affect his bid for BSB Sky, which is worth billions of pounds. To me, this is what it's all about. There will be a Sunday Sun coming out in no time at all, which will be part of the 7-day, and hopefully he will hope that most of the News of the World readers will read that.
Now, Chrstine, should this not... We've heard about the Sunday Sun. Now, we've already heard that the Sun on Sunday domain name was bought up a couple of days ago. We're not sure who by, but, of course, speculation that it will be another News International paper. Well, what do you think of this? Do we need a change of title, or should we look for something more? Well, are the public going to look for a change of culture rather than just a News of the World under a different name appearing in 6 weeks' time? Well,
and also, you have quite strong opinions because of what you went through. You sort of described them as toxic. Some of these.
Well, what I'm so disappointed in is actually that James Murdoch hasn't taken action before now. He's been forced into this action because of commercial pressures. You know, the Press Complaints Commission did nothing. The MPs did nothing. The police did nothing. It's taken the advertisers to withdraw and James Murdoch to realise that he is now in serious danger of losing a lot of money over all this. That is what's caused him to act. What I would have liked Murdoch to have done when he knew that money had been changing hands to the police, but by their own admission, because Rebecca Brooks said so to the Select Committee, why didn't Murdoch then say, I'm not having this on my newspaper, I'm going in to investigate? Why has it taken commercial pressure for Murdoch to act in what some people might regard as an honourable way to say, stop the cancer?
Okay,
why didn't he get in there earlier and stop it? He knew it was there. He must have done, because his own people were telling him.
Indeed. Now, you've brought up Rebecca Brooks. She does seem to be getting an awful lot of publicity at the moment. She was in charge of the News of the World at the time of those alleged Millie Dowler phone hacking claims, although not later on when a lot of the other ones were alleged to have happened. Today, David Cameron said that when she tendered her resignation, he would have accepted it. That's what he said. He's not going as far as to call for her resignation. I know that you're a good friend of hers. You're also working with her on this. What should she do?
Well, no, I'm not working with her on this. I'm giving my opinion.
She's been in touch with you, hasn't she?
Yeah, I've spoken to Rebecca, as I've spoken to most editors virtually every day, and have done for the last 40-odd years. That's part of my business. But I think if Rebecca is shown to have had any involvement or knowledge of what allegedly went on, and we still don't know that that's the truth, and I believe from discussions with the police, which I've had many in helping their inquiries on this in the last 9 months, don't forget I sued the News of the World.
Indeed.
You know, I was the only one that did.
I beg your pardon, I've sued the News of the World.
Over phone hacking.
Not over phone hacking.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes, I know, but
Max,
just for the record...
you can't believe she's totally oblivious to it.
Yes, I can.
No.
She was on holiday, poor darling.
Just a second. Hold on. You asked me a question, let me answer it. You know, I've dealt with news editors and other editors on newspapers for 40 years, often in terms of stories, exclusives, information, which the editors knew nothing about. So I know it goes on and has gone on. The editor doesn't know everything that is going on in every area. If it's shown that she did, she should resign.
But I think people look at it and sort of go, you know, any kind of boss of any company knows what's going on. And if they don't, then the company's in trouble.
Unfortunately, that isn't realistic. Anybody that's worked on newspapers would know that an editor doesn't know everything that is going on with the newspaper.
It's perfectly possible that she didn't know everything that went on every day. If it does turn out that there's been phone hacking on the scale that's now being alleged, then it was a cultural thing that was happening at the News of the World, and it does seem inconceivable that she didn't know that was going on, if that proves to be the case. Wouldn't you agree?
I think that if she's shown to have had any knowledge or involvement in any of this, she should resign. I know
Wouldn't she be incompetent if she hadn't known anything about it? She was the editor.
She's already offered to resign. Okay,
so why should she pick up her resignation, Nick? Is it because you think that they thought that if she, that James Murdoch might be next?
I think that's it. I think she's what's called a firewall between the storm and James Murdoch, and you've got to assume that Rupert Murdoch is probably looking to his son to eventually take over as chief executive of the whole company, so we need someone to soak up all the pressure.
And does she know too much? Do you think she knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak?
Well, I don't think they quite got into that, Paddy. I think they are starting to make serious allegations. No, she's obviously instrumental. She's been the chief executive there. I think the other thing you have to realise, which Max will attest to as well, she is riding a storm of her own at the moment with the News of the World journalists. Much of their ire and understandable anger is directed at her, and when it was suggested yesterday at the meeting that she had offered her resignation, one of the guys called out, well, we'll accept it.
Christine, looking at Andy Coulson as well, he's in a police station today, answering questions. David Cameron says that it was only him alone, who hired him. How damaging could this be for David Cameron?
I think it's incredibly damaging. As I understand it, Alan Rusbridger, the editor of The Guardian, I must say, not my favourite newspaper, they have done a magnificent job in all this. Alan Rusbridger apparently went to see senior aides to David Cameron before the election and warned him about Andy Coulson. He went to see Nick Clegg personally, warned him about Andy Coulson, and still they took him on. I mean, it's incredible. I think it's very, very damaging indeed to David Cameron. But then you've got to look at the fact that, of course, Rupert Murdoch backed David Cameron prior to the election, and probably The Sun and the News of the World helped David Cameron squeeze in and win the election. So possibly you can understand what's going on. Well, this is why the politicians have been so supine, isn't it? Because they're terrified of Murdoch.
If David Cameron asks Andy Coulson, tell me that you're in the clear, and he says yes, are you expecting the Prime Minister to be psychic in some way?
No, but I'm expecting the Prime Minister to say, well, wait a moment, Alan Rusbridger, what axe did Alan Rusbridger have to grind?
You know the enmity between The Guardian and News International.
Yeah, yes.
So an editor is going to say...
I think it's fair to say
I think you should have taken a few more soundings.
In terms of Andy Coulson and potential and alleged involvement, the rumours were all over the place and all over Fleet Street. So David Cameron is a very ambitious former PR man, politician.
So he made the right choice, do you think?
So a guy has never
should have made very thorough inquiries.
So a guy's never rehabilitated.
Hold on, did he say...
Never forgiven.
Did he say, I've taken him on knowing that he did that?
No.
You're not rehabilitated from the sort of allegations.
If you find out that he was responsible and it's purely allegations...
It is, you're right, yeah.
You know, and then you make that decision...
So for the rest of your life, you're doomed, are you?
No, not at all. I think you've got to be looked at. That's not what I'm saying, Nick. What I'm saying is you check it out, and if you decide that in spite of all these rumours you want to employ someone, you stand up and say that in spite of all these rumours, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm doing.
Which is sort of what he said. He said just now, the Prime Minister said it was his decision. He's had 4 great years. There was never any problems on his watch, and Coulson did a great job.
OK, well, we're going to find out. We will find out, obviously, more about whether or not there are any charges.
It's a topic everyone wants to carry on talking about. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stop here. I'm sorry.
OK, well, if we do hear anything more about all of this later on in the programme, we will, of course, keep you up to date. It is a very fast-moving story.
Absolutely, and we want to hear what you think about this. Matt's got the details of how you can get in touch.
What a hot topic. Yes, guys, you can email us with This Morning at itv.com, tweet us at ITV This Morning, or leave your comments on questions on the official This Morning Facebook page. And make sure you send them by midday today for a chance to get them on air. And just a quick word about a future show, guys. We're looking to help fix Britain's feuding families, squabbling siblings and warring friends. Is your partner's bad behaviour driving you mad? Is your mum or daughter stealing your makeup? Does your man flirt with your friends? Or maybe he has a hobby that is driving you crazy. If you want to settle the score and then you can persuade the other party to come into the studio, email us at thismorning@itv.com. And remember, we are talking about more light-hearted problems, not the Jeremy Kyle standard stuff. Paddy.
Thank you. Now, if you're sat at home thinking, I'd quite like a VIP trip to Florida, and I bet Andy Coulson's thinking that right now, plus an extra 20 grand in the bank, then look no further.